Hi guys, it's Katie here from CreativeHealingPhilly.com. I'm here with Allie Katz, who's author, speaker, and coach, and I'm so excited to have you here, Allie, so welcome.
Excited to be here, thank you.
Can you give our listeners just a little bit of an idea of who you are? I want to go into your story a little bit, but give us expand on author, speaker, coach for just a minute.
Okay, I'm so excited to do that.
And
there's a playback, I hear. Oh, you know what?
Thank you.
I think it.
Can you give our listeners just a little bit of an idea? You have Facebook open? Your story a little bit, but give us expand on author, speaker, coach.
But I'm thinking that.
Okay.
Here, let me X out of this.
There's a playback, I hear. Oh, you know what?
There.
Okay.
God. Remember when I told you I went on Safari by accident? It was open.
We did it. So we're still here. Technology is okay.
Human moment, right? I mean, we just roll with it. Okay. Can you repeat your question one more time now that I can hear you?
Give our listeners expand on author, speaker, coach just a little bit, because I'm going to ask you about your story, but I just want them to know more clearly who you are and what you do.
Okay, awesome. So my brand is called Hot Mess to Mindful Mom, which started because it's the title of my first book in my series, the Hot Mess to Mindful Mom series. And I started as a meditation teacher, and my company was called A to Zen Meditation. But then I came out with my book, Hot Mess to Mindful Mom, and that brand kind of just went crazy and everybody loved it so much. So I sort of switched everything over to that. So it came really from the books. And then I also do motivational speaking. I do starting to do more and more talks. That's a big part of the direction of where my business is going. Workshops, talks. My signature speech is called How to Deal with Stress in 1 Minute or Less. I do an awesome one on mom guilt. I mean, I have tons of topics that I talk on. And then as a coach, I do a lot about self-care, meditation, setting up systems in your home that work, really taking care of you so you can bring your best self to the world and those that you love. So that's kind of what I'm doing now, which is a little bit of everything, but it's all stuff I love. So
I absolutely love it. And I think that's why, it might have been a year ago that I had reached out to you on Facebook and said, I love the idea of Hot Mess to Mindful Mom. I'm a therapist. I work exclusively with teenagers. We have a teen support center where there are 4 other therapists that also work with teenagers. But a lot of what we do online is we send out a weekly newsletter to moms and to parents in general to support them in supporting their teens in the community. So with Mother's Day coming up, I knew we had to connect with you and talk more about how to support the moms, because it's challenging, right? If you have any kids, it's challenging to find time for you to engage in self-care, to be mindful because there's so much going on, but especially a teenager who's struggling, it's just a challenging time. So I would love to hear your own kind of hot mess to mindful mom story, because you do share that as a part of your book, that you were once a hot mess and now a mindful mom. So what was that pivotal moment for you when you recognized things have to change? I need more time for me. I need to be more mindful.
I think that when I was a new mom and a young mom, I had this idea in my head that being a martyr meant I was doing it right, that putting everybody else first was how I was supposed to prove my love to them. Mm-hmm. But what I realized was that when I did that, they got an overwhelmed, depleted, exhausted version of mom. And that wasn't the one that felt great, the one that was yelling, the one that was overwhelmed, the one that was frustrated all the time, losing patience. What I realized was when I took better care of myself, even just spent a few minutes a day on self-care, and I was able to give myself the opportunity to recalibrate and come back to center and feel like my best self, I was able to bring a more energized, joyful, happy version of mom to the world. And that's what my kids like. So when I started meditating and taking care of myself, and I'd say, guys, I need a few minutes so that I can be the best mom I can be, my kids were like, okay, because they like the mom that took care of herself. So I think too, a big shift was expectations. So people think that because I teach meditation and mindfulness and I write about all of this and talk about it, that I don't feel stressed. They're like, oh, your life must be so zen. And I'm like, not really. I have the same stresses that everybody else has. kids, running a household, having a business, having deadlines, aging parents, everything. Mm-hmm. I feel the same stress. I just have tools that help me to recover so much quicker and faster. And so those are the tools that I teach and write about and speak about. And what I've learned is that balance is not like something we achieve. It's not a place we get to. It's a constant recalibration of kind of riding the waves, using your tools, getting to a good place. Life happens. You maybe take a little dip. You recalibrate again. So you're never done practicing and using these tools. And I think that mindset and expectation, that shift helps a lot because you're setting yourself up for success instead of setting yourself up for failure. Like, I'm not there, I must be doing something wrong. It's about having the tools to always bring yourself back. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, and it aligns really well with a lot of what we talk about here in our center too, is like, you're not going to be happy all the time. So the expectation of therapy or any kind of support, whether it be mindfulness or, self-care coaching, any of that is not to always be happy. It's to be able to better manage life's ups and downs. And I think that makes a lot of sense.
Recovering quicker and easier and faster.
Absolutely. I want to touch on something else that you said too, which was one of the big questions that I had for you, because you were talking about the idea of like, you were always on the go, kind of frazzled, not the best mom that you could be, just because you were kind of trying to pour from an empty cup. And I have a lot of parents that come in and say like, well, I'll take care of myself once I have my kids settled. Once they're completely taken care of, then I'll go back and I'll do some self-care for me. Or like, I'm just too busy with all the appointments and after school activities to actually take care of myself. So how do you add in, and your book is great for this, for these practical tips, but what do you have to say to teach parents for like how to add in practical self-care skills into your very busy schedule? Like, how do you do that?
Well, the thing that's great is your breath is always with you. I say make your breath your BFF because it is your most portable self-care, self-help tool. It is always with you. So find places to use it to come back to center and balance and sort of give yourself that recalibration that maybe you would think was wasted time before. So think about matching your inhale and exhale and breathing at a traffic light, in line at the grocery store, in line at the bank, waiting for the kids to warm up at their sporting event before the game starts. Sit on the bleacher and just let yourself breathe. Carpool line. So we know you can't scratch everything you have to do in order to fit these tools in, but find ways to let them fit into your life. So there's a lot of really easy things you can do. I call them 1-minute meditations or peace finder practices. Fit it in a traffic light, fit it in a line, fit it in carpool, wherever you can fit it in. Those minutes don't have to be wasted. They can be mindful. So another thing is, don't always reach for your phone. I have this cheesy line I say, like, don't reach for your phone, reach for your breath. We spend so much time on social media. The average adult checks 17 times a day. You would think kids are on social media the most, is like what you kind of think. Yeah. But actually, statistically, it's people between the ages of 34 and 52.
Really?
17 times a day. So you know what? 5 of those times, why don't you just breathe for a minute instead of reaching for your phone? You can still reach for your phone 12 times.
Right.
You took 5 of those minutes and gave yourself time to breathe. So people ask me, they're like, well, I don't have time. And I'll say, well, how much time do you spend on social media every day?
Right.
You find time for what's important to you. So if self-care is important to you, which it should be, then you make the time, right? It's not a judgment thing. It's a practical thing. So I understand how it feels to feel pulled for time. So my job is to help people find little sneaky ways to help it fit in.
Right.
And these meditations are like number 1 on the list.
I love the idea of make your breath your BFF. I mean, I'm always a fan of like a rhyme and a pun. That's just part of who I am. Do you have specific breaths, and I'm sure you do, that you teach? Is there one like real quick one that you can share with us about just a practical?
The easiest is matching your inhale and your exhale, which is always the first one I give people. So counting to 3 as you breathe in and 3 as you breathe out.
Okay.
3 as you breathe in, 3 as you breathe out. You can do this with your eyes open, your eyes closed. But if you're ever in your car, you have to have your eyes open. But you could do this sitting on the bleachers. You could do this in line at the grocery store. You could do this as a meeting is started. I tell kids, do it as the teachers are passing out your paper. no one has to know you're doing it. You're just breathing, but use that breath pattern to really calm yourself. So it takes 3 nice, long, slow, deep breaths to begin to settle down your nervous system. So that should be everyone's number one go-to.
Okay. And I like that you're giving us a number, like it's helpful to know it takes at least 3. It's not like I tried one breath and I don't feel better, so it doesn't work for me. Like it takes some consistency and practice.
Yeah. And it's also the way you breathe. So some people think they're taking a deep breath. Have you ever seen people go like this? Like that? You're actually activating your stress response when you do that.
Really?
So fill up from your belly. So I tell people almost try to imagine like you're blowing up a balloon in your belly when you breathe. And then on the exhale, you're letting all the air out. So you want to really fill up instead of breathing into your shoulders.
Right. That's a great tip too. I really loved in Hot Mess to Mindful Mom the chapter on acts of kindness. So one of my teens' favorite groups, and I run a lot of groups, is about compliments and how you contribute to other people and how it boosts your own sense of well-being when you can take the focus off of you and compliment other people. So can you speak to how acts of kindness are connected to mindfulness and how we can sneak in more acts of kindness into our families?
Yes, well, acts of kindness, the more acts of kindness you do and the more you connect in that way, the happier you feel in your own life. So I have a great teacher named Gabby Bernstein that I remember when she taught one time, if you're ever feeling bad about yourself or something that's going on in your life, do something nice for someone else. Yeah. Get you out of it like that. I'm sure you guys talk about that. Mm-hmm. One amazing thing that we do in my own family is we started a compliment jar. We have it on the counter. And it's funny, when we first started it, like the first week, I was the only one putting compliments in the compliment jar. Everyone was probably thought I was like, rolling their eyes at mom, kind of like another idea. Then the next week, my husband started putting them in. And then the third week, my boys were putting them in for each other. And, everyone loves it now. So it feels so good to put that compliment in, and then the act of once a week when we take them out and read them, I mean, everybody just lights up. So that's a great one. I think that you can be as bold as like paying for the person in line behind you, or as simple as smiling at someone, making eye contact.
Right.
Eye contact is so important. People underestimate how much it matters and how much we think we're talking to people, but we're not looking. I always tell my parents, try to make eye contact with your kids at least 5 times a day. Count it. You think you're talking to them, but like from the kitchen, from the sink, from the other room, like, are you really making eye contact? So making eye contact with someone and smiling or giving them a compliment when you're really looking at them is so, so nice. Helping someone out without being asked. That's a super easy thing for teens to do. There really is no wrong way to be kind. I think that's the bottom line. If you're thinking about doing something nice, just take the opportunity and do it. It will make you feel good. It will make that person feel good. It can't go wrong.
Yeah, lots of great examples there. Thank you for giving us a list of several that I think are really easy to do. I always tell my teens, like, I'm big on experiments. I'm never saying, like, this is what you have to do to feel better, but experiment with different things and see how they make you feel. And I always share that, like, when I'm feeling down, I'll go out to some stores and just make eye contact with people and smile and say hi to them. And it does definitely boost my mood, at least when I'm at the end of the day. So I love that you're giving some other ideas there too that we can give a try too.
Yeah, perfect.
Tell us about getting grounded. So not grounded as in the sense of like parents grounding your teen for coming in late for curfew, but getting grounded, reconnecting to yourself, to the earth. You talk about it in your book, and I'm hoping you can give us like a concise explanation of getting grounded.
So something that I teach and works amazing for adults as well as teens as well as younger kids is what I call having a trigger plan. So I say kind of all hell can break loose in 1 minute. So we need tools to bring us back to center and balance in just as little amount of time, to feel more grounded, to feel more present. When our mind starts going crazy, we usually go to the past or we go to the future. And I don't know if this is something that you have taught before, but your emotions give you a really big clue as to where your attention is. So if you're feeling sad or a little bit depressed, your attention is typically in the past. Yeah. If you're feeling anxious or stressed, your attention is in the future. If you're feeling calm and at ease, your attention's in the present. So we can use our emotions to sort of give us a clue of where we are, and then we know we need a tool to bring us back to the present moment, to the calm and the ease. So there are so many tools, like I mentioned, 1-minute meditations, but that's not the only thing that can do it. Spending a minute with a pet is amazing. Spending a minute outside, if you have a minute to walk around the block or even just step onto your back porch, breathe some fresh air. A lot of people love water. Water is very cleansing. Making a cup of tea, drinking a cup of water, taking a bath if you have a little bit more time. Journaling is great. Music can be very grounding. Moving energy through movement. So if you have a lot of time and you want to exercise or go on a walk and a run, but if you just have a minute or two, 2-minute dance party.
Love it.
And that's fun.
Yeah.
And you can do that as a family. You can do that on your own in your room, moms or teens. That one's great. So connecting with a friend, but some people I know texting is like everything, but really connect. Hear someone's voice.
Right.
Tell someone how you're feeling. That can be really helpful. So I encourage people to try a couple different things. I always say date it before you marry it. Try a couple things. See what feels good to you. And then have a list of 3 or 4 things that always work for you. So when you're in that mood or you're in that moment, you're like, I know exactly what I'm going to do.
I love it. I'm all about practical tips, and everything that you're saying aligns so well with what we do at the Teen Support Center. So the kind of therapy that I do is called DBT, Dialectical Behavior Therapy, and it's a foundation in mindfulness and finding balance. So we talk a lot about that idea of are you time traveling in your mind? When you're depressed, where are you? Are you in the past right now? Or when you're anxious, is it you're thinking about how you're never going to get a job and you're going to be homeless because you didn't get the grade that you wanted to get on one test. So I love how you're talking about, bringing it back to balance and grounding yourself in the moment with certain activities.
I call that future tripping. And so I teach people a lot, and I'm sure you do too, about the difference between planning and worrying. Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
So we have to plan to have a life. We plan to go to college. We plan for retirement. We plan vacation. But worrying is like that chaotic energy. And the statistic I heard one time blows my mind. 90% of what we worry about doesn't actually happen.
Yeah.
So it's a shame to waste all that energy on something that's most likely not ever going to happen anyway.
Right. I say that too, don't react to your future thoughts as if they're a reality now. You're getting yourself so amped up and upset about something that hasn't even happened yet. And you can't plan for that because it hasn't happened.
And what was so life-changing for me that now it's such a gift to be able to teach other people is not every thought we have is true.
Right.
So just realizing, catching yourself and being like, is that even true? Am I really going to be homeless one day? Probably not. It's just that it was so freeing for me to give myself permission to acknowledge which thoughts were true and which weren't.
And I think that comes back to the idea of being mindful as well, noticing that your thought is just a thought, that your thought isn't a fact or isn't a reality. And that takes tuning in and being aware that, it's just a thought. It's not truth.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Give us your number one tip before we wrap up and talk about the amazing you have.
Okay, next time I will unplug my phone. Sorry, I forgot to.
We're all living our lives as we do this. What's your number one tip that you can share for parents on finding balance, being mindful, managing the ups and downs to be a mindful parent?
I think the most important thing is to have compassion for yourself and to put the effort in to really try and know that every moment isn't going to be perfect. Just because you're bringing mindfulness into your life, it doesn't mean it's smooth sailing from here on out. We have very human moments. We have challenging moments. The point, as we said, is to recover quicker, but to have that compassion for yourself, it's not like we're never going to make another mistake.
Right.
I teach this for a living. I make mistakes too, but it's what I learn from them that matters, not the mistake. So I think if parents can enter into this phase of living more mindfully with that compassion for themselves and that willingness to just put the effort in, they're going to be golden.
I love it. And I love the idea that they can model that for their kids and their teenagers too, because perfectionism is such a big stressor, with school and college and all of those things. So being able to model just being yourself and progress and not perfection and taking it as it comes is super important.
I'm so glad you brought that up because modeling is everything.
Yeah.
our kids pay so much more attention to what we do than what we say. And we want them to practice self-care and we want them to take care of themselves. But how are they going to know how to do it if they never see us do it? So I think talk about these concepts with your kids. Say, oh, I'm doing 1 minute meditations. You want me to teach you? You know, normalize it. It's not like a weird hippie thing. It's a skill, you know, that I wish I had when I was a teen. I can't imagine the peer pressure I would have avoided, the comfort level I would have had if I had these tools when I was a teen.
Absolutely. They're ones that we practice in our groups every week, and they're ones that I hope that my teens are bringing into their homes and that they're sharing with their families too. So I'm glad
doing such amazing work giving this to teens. That's so awesome.
I'm glad that the parents have you for that self-care part too, because I think everybody needs, you know, I'm a mom myself and we all need help. We all need support. So awesome.
I have my own teachers. You know, it's like I'm always a student and a teacher. Absolutely. So I'm always still improving and bettering myself as I teach others. I don't think that part ever ends.
I would agree. Yeah. Got to keep going, you know. So tell us, Allie, you've been amazing enough to offer one lucky winner a free copy of your book, Hot Mess to Mindful Mom, and your digital detox course. Tell us, like, real briefly what that is, and then I'll tell everyone how they can sign up to get in the mix for that.
Okay, so digital detox is life-changing. It is 3 weeks, very simple. I just send you like an 8-minute video once a week with a little, suggestion of what to do that week. What we're doing in digital detox, I'm not taking your phone away. I'm not taking everything from you. I'm just teaching you very easy and effective and simple tools to be able to be a little more mindful and intentional about your phone use and put it down for just baby increments at a time so that you have more time for self-care. You have more time to connect with those that you love. Your kids are seeing you model these amazing behaviors of walking away from your phone for 10 minutes at a time.
Right.
So it's just a program that gives you really easy and effective tools to just be a little more mindful around your phone use. Because if we can step away from our phone for just a few minutes, we have time to do all these other things that we want to do.
Right. I love it. So if you're watching this on Facebook, there's going to be a link below in the comments for you to sign up and get in the raffle to win the book and the digital detox. And the winner will be announced on Sunday, on Mother's Day. For those of everyone who doesn't win the prize, I'm losing my words here at the end, is there a way that people can find you or get in touch with you if they want to learn more about what you do?
Sure. So my website is hotmesstomindfulmom.com, and there's links to my book, which is on Barnes & Noble and Amazon and everywhere. And so you can order that. And then actually my second book, this is the press copy, is coming out in August on Amazon. You can pre-order that. It's called Get the Most Out of Motherhood. And then the digital detox is on the homepage of my website. But also on the homepage of my website, which I would love for everyone to do, you can sign up to get a free gift it's called Sunday Prep. And if you sign up, then I give you my 6 awesome quick tools that I use on Sunday to set myself up for a stress-free week. So those are really good.
Awesome. I will be signing up for that today too. I'll be checking.
Awesome.
Well, Allie, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us today. And I'm excited to announce a winner of the amazing gifts that you're offering.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you for the incredible work you're doing.
Oh, thank you. I love what I do too. So I appreciate you, and we'll be in touch.
Awesome.
Bye,
Thanks.
Allie.